What's up everybody, Serenity here, and today I'm bringing you my Capitao guide, so let's get right into it. So honestly, for the loadout, there's not much I can say. It's all about your preferences. The Para and the M249 are very similar. I personally would recommend the Para just because of the ADS time, but just know that the M249 is also a good choice. Run whatever optic you prefer, run whatever grip you prefer, and it's the same thing for the barrel attachments. The only thing I have to say here is if you're using the angle grip, I would recommend using the flash hider because you're going to be tap firing a lot, and if you do the normal grip, then go for the compensator. Other than that, it really depends on your playstyle. I really like the pistol, I have nothing against it. And obviously you have frag grenades. And to finish off the loadout, Capitao is actually a 3-speed operator, not a 2-speed 2 armor like most people seem to think. Capitao's special ability is this crossbow right here. So you have two types of bolts and two bolts of each type. You have the incendiary one and the smoke one. So the fire one is a lot like Smokes' gas canister, only it's a very small area and it does a lot of damage very quickly. I think it lasts for a total of 12 seconds and it kills in like 2 seconds and a half or something. There's really two ways of using it, actively and passively. An example of using it actively is like there's someone behind the deployable shield, you shoot that deployable shield with the fire arrow, then that defender has to run away. As he's running away, you kill him, right? And then there's the passive way of using it. For example, you shoot that doorway and you stop anyone from pushing in through. Most of the time, you're going to be using it in a passive way just because it lasts a long time and the area of effect is very small, so it's hard to use it on someone without him killing you first. And here's the smoke bolt. It acts as any other smoke in the game. You know, you can see through it a little bit, but if you're in it, you won't see anything. So practically, it just makes it very awkward to push through it. By the way, both bolts are not stopped by Jaeger's ADSs. Alright, so practically, Capitao is amazing at stopping defenders' pushes. He's also great at confining those defenders in awkward positions for long periods of times. With Capitao, it's all about finding ways to force the defenders to push into you. For example, you pincer a roamer, you plant the diffuser, etc. In my opinion, Capitao is a pretty solid counter to roamers. Here's why. So if you're about to do a very important push into a site and you know that there's a roamer behind you, instead of having someone wasting his time looking at that angle, you can just use one of your incendiary bolts on the doorway and then push into the site with your whole team, outmatching the defenders. Another way that I can see him countering roamers is, for example, there's a roamer that's stuck in a room and there's two ways for him to get out. Then you can shut one down and push the other one, right? The possibilities are pretty much endless, especially if you think of all the combos you can make. For example, you could fuse a room and then lock the two exits, preventing the defenders from running away. You know, I'm sure the community will find some really cool ways to make use of those incendiary bolts. Alright, so let's talk about the character himself. How do you actually play Capitao? Alright, so the first thing you need to know about Capitao is that he shines in a very organized environment, especially when you have a plan and you're solely playing the objective. Even though your special ability is great at digging out roamers, you're going to need the help of your whole team while doing that. You can't play this character alone. I mean, you could, but you're not utilizing its full potential at all. So the way I see it is that you could play two very different playstyles. If you're really confident about your aim, you could play a very aggressive and ADD-like playstyle. That's where you rush in, try to surprise the enemy, and outgun everyone. Now that does work because of your 3 speed and your good gun. I wouldn't recommend doing that too much because teams usually adapt pretty quickly to that and they can shut you down very easily. The other problem with that playstyle is that you have so much utility that you're never going to use it all before dying. Rushing in and taking your opponents by surprise is only something you should do very rarely, but in the right circumstances, it does work if your team is on the same page as you. The other playstyle is a very supportive one, so you want to stand back and help your team from afar. Now, by standing back, I don't mean to literally stand behind your team. It's just about playing a safe playstyle. The reason this playstyle makes sense is that Capitao has so much utility that it's almost impossible to make use of all of it in a short amount of time. You know, it should take a while for you to use it all. Another reason to play in the back is that Capitao is a very good character to clutch with. You have 3 speed, you have a good gun, and your incendiary bolts can stop people from destroying the diffuser. So for all of those reasons, I prefer Capitao being played in the back. I know it's very tempting to just rush in there with your 3 speed and outgun everyone with the para, but you have to do what's best for the team. He's a lot like Smoke in a way, because you want him to stay alive for as long as possible, because his special ability is better towards the end of the round than at the beginning. You know, buying 15 seconds at the beginning of the round is almost meaningless, but buying 15 seconds after the diffuser has been planted, that could mean the round. I think Capitao is a great character to be played by the IGL because he'll mostly sit in a safe area, coordinating everyone, and he doesn't really have to worry too much about himself. I'm also saying that because he has a lot of crowd control ability, and that takes a lot of game sense and game understanding to use correctly. You know, Capitao is the worst character to be played if you get tunnel visioned a lot, and obviously this shouldn't be a problem with your IGL. Now let's talk about the operator that Capitao will be replacing in high level play. By the way, I started practicing for Pro League for Season 3, you know, I'm joining a Pro League team, and as of right now, Capitao is a must pick. There is absolutely no reason not to pick him. So who will he be replacing? Alright, so the normal roster for competitive play right now is Thermite, Thatcher, Ash, Buck, and Sledge. Some people are arguing that he will be replacing either Buck or Sledge, but after talking about this subject to a lot of very good players, I think he will be replacing Ash. Here's why. One of the reasons why Ash has been played a lot is, first of all, you know, she has a great gun, she has a very good hitbox, but also because of her smokes. I see a lot of people on my stream bashing on smoke grenades for being client-sided. Now that's still very true, the smoke that I see is not the smoke that you see. But if you throw all 3 smoke grenades in one hallway, I mean, it's gonna work. A great example of that is the TV room take on Hereford Base. In some situations, you really don't want to go over that window, and so what you do is you smoke the hallway with all 3 smoke grenades, and then you can run in there very safely. So team-wise, that's what Ash brings to the table. Now Capitao can do the same thing, only a little bit worse. Now let's take into account the other things that Capitao has. He has 2 frag grenades, which Ash doesn't have, and he has 2 Molotovs. So now you start seeing why he's replacing Ash. I mean, he's just a better version of her. Having those 2 additional frags means so much, especially on frag heavy maps like Canal. On Canal, if you have 6 frags, that's a lot of free kills you can get. But like I said earlier, Capitao can also replace Buck or Sledge. So obviously in those situations, I mean, you would bring Buck in vertical firefights, for example Chalet, and then you would bring the Sledge on more horizontal maps like Hereford Base's Basement. By the way, this is not 100% always true, you know, sometimes he will be replacing Thatcher. I'm just talking about the overwhelming majority of the time here. You know, obviously it's very dependent on your strategy. So in conclusion, even though Capitao makes for a great aggressive operator, it's not the best idea to do that team-wise. Make sure you're constantly thinking about ways you could be using your special ability. And don't try to wait for that perfect moment, because those don't happen as frequently as you would think. If you have a vision of your special ability being useful somewhere, just use it. As I said earlier, a good Capitao player is one that understands the game flow and the strategy very well. Basically someone that never gets tunnel visioned. That's why I would recommend him being played by your IGL or something. And finally, try to stay alive for as long as possible because you're the #1 operator when it comes to clutches. Alright guys, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, thanks for the support, and I'll see you soon. Another way to hold an angle but still be the one peeking is this right here. So the goal here is to hold an insanely narrow angle that will make it impossible for you or the enemy to use. The only way you're gonna use it is for information. Once you see the enemy crossing from one side to the other, pre-fire at head level for some nasty kills. All you need for this is okay reaction time and some good recoil management. Honestly guys, it's very rare that you're going to lose that duel. It's absolutely disgusting.
He dropped down.
10 seconds remaining.
Hey, let's fucking go, dude! Go! Fucking go, dude! Fuck yeah!
Let's go!
Oh my